Stream's also connecting. Stream is connected.
Stream's connected. All right. Welcome everyone to the official Distant Worlds 3 podcast. 11th episode tonight, and as this weekend is gonna be quite special in all regards, we're starting it off with hosting a legend, Felix Macedonica. I hope that is Macedonica.
It's either. I go with Macedonica, but Macedonica works as well.
All right, cool. Welcome.
Thank you.
And helping me host here is Dr. Nagi and Falinor of the Distant Radio team.
Hi.
Hey, good to talk to you.
Nagi.
I've once noticed a thread on the exploration forum, and it was titled "End of the Road," and the first words in there were "I messed up." So
Yes.
I got curious and I clicked on it, and I've read it, pages upon pages upon pages. It was quite long
Good God.
at the
Yes.
time I've read it. Yeah. So, will you give us the story? What happened?
Well, yes, it was. First off, let me just say I'm massively enjoying Distant Worlds 3 at the moment. It drew me back into the game after a number of years hiatus, so I'm relearning how to play the game and remembering just what fun and what a sense of adventure is in both Elite Dangerous as a whole, but the Distant Worlds projects as well. I did Distant World 1, completed that, and then had that slight mishap on the way back. Started Distant Worlds 2, got to Sagi A, and then I thought, because it was so huge in the expedition numbers, it didn't have the same flavor as the first one, so I drifted off and went off exploring, what have you. And now I'm back for Distant World 3. And it's just mind-blowing what's going on with the fleet carriers and all that sort of stuff. So just wanted to say, massively enjoying it, and I'm so glad I'm back in the game. But to go back to that whole thread that I started called "End of the Road," that was it grew out because I'd miscalculated the math on the jumps between two systems and didn't realize I didn't have enough germanium left to boost to get. I thought I had enough range inherent in what was left of the fuel in the tank to give me the maximum jump range, but I didn't. I was like a point short or something. I don't quite know how the maths went wrong. It was my own idiocracy, what have you. And I thought, well, I'll put a post up just so people can like learn from my mistake, thinking I'll have to self-destruct or figure out something else to do. But basically I was trapped between two systems. I couldn't go back and I couldn't go forward from those two. And I think I described it as like being trapped between two goldfish bowls with a little glass tunnel between the two of them. And there was no germanium available in, I think, the one planet that I could land on between the two systems. And as far as I could see, it was a dead end. So I put the little shout out just to raise awareness. And I must say, I knew nothing about mining. Like, I've not done the mining gameplay loop at all. I didn't think materials counted as part of the mining thing. And then this voice came back saying, "Is there a ringed planet in one of the two systems?" And I was like, "Don't know why you're asking me that, but let me check. Yes, there is." And then there was this little response which has like been burned in my memory. It was like PM sent, and it was Chiggy, and he'd sent me this PM saying I can equip a mining laser and get out to you, and if we're lucky, based on the statistics, we might be able to mine for germanium in the asteroid belt, the ring system of that gas giant, which I knew nothing about, and that kick-started the whole thing. And I think in all it just ran over 3 days. I was lucky. I had a couple of days off work, so I was able to throw myself into kind of trying to get interest in kind of honoring what Chiggy was doing, because I couldn't believe someone would just tool up a mining laser, respect their ASP, and then make what must have been a 60,000 light year journey just to, on the off chance, some germanium would drop. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, I am. I am inside that system right now. It's been
Oh gosh.
renamed. It's called VonRichtofen's Rescue now, and
Yes.
there are 3 planets that do have ring systems around them, and I think it needed to be a rocky ring, if I remember right.
I think so, from what I remember. Yeah, it's going back 10 years now, so I'm kind of not too. I don't remember many of the details, but something like that. And then people were wading in on the forum board, breaking down the statistics of the chance of germanium dropping and breaking down all the different categories. And I was like scratching my head, going, "This is way beyond my knowledge." So I just trust in their. I think there was a mid to upper level probability that it could drop, but it was still a hell of a risk for Chiggy to come all that way out there. And what kind of just absolutely staggered me wasn't the fact that he did it, but it was just the utter relentlessness of him speeding across the galaxy to get to me within those 2 or 3 days. I would drop into the galaxy map and try and look for him, and he'd moved from like so far from the last time I dropped in. I had to kind of zoom out to try and figure out where he got up to, and it was one of those things where I didn't really kind of appreciate the effort that he was doing, because I had no experience of that at all. I'm just plodding around in little slow jumps back in there. I think I had was 25 jump range or something, which I got up to about 28 if I just ran the tank right down dry and scooped only that first little bit to keep the tank fairly empty. You know how you do that when you're trying to you eke out that extra little kind of jump range or what have you.
How did you
And
get
then he
so
arrived,
far
and
out with just 28 light years range?
I know. I'm looking back now. It's like everyone's zipping around in the 70s to 90s range or something, which is like when I got back into Elite Dangerous about 4 weeks ago, and I raced back from north of Saggy A to get back to the launch point. A friend of mine who's been playing it sporadic says you won't recognize the bubble, and there's all these new things in the game. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be. Elite Dangerous was a dying game when I left it. There was no real investment in what could have changed. It was like, what, fleet carriers? What the hell are those? and I got into the bubble, and there's loads of different points of interest all over the place. It's like, oh my god, I'm drowning in I have no idea what's going on right now. So yeah, that jump range, it was an area of space, if I remember correctly, it was called the Ronsvo Crossing. I don't know if it's still named that, but if you had under a certain jump range, you had to plot manually each one, and you had to boost with germanium. Otherwise, you couldn't get out of it. It was it's a bit like the Salome's Reach or Beacon, I can't remember what it's called, where you have to kind of do the manual jump or boost with germanium to get out to that farthest point. And there was a couple of commanders, myself included, obviously, that came to grief in that region. There was Commander Talon, who was one of the later ones to arrive at Beagle Point. He got stuck out there. He ran out of fuel, couldn't scoop, and the fuel rats had to go out and rescue him. And he was piloting a Type 6 as well. So we were at the lower end of the jump capability ships back in those days. But now it's like 70. I think someone said that you can get up to 90 jump range now on some of the ships without boosting, which is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, if you go absolutely paper thin build, including the pre-engineered SCO with the Titan components, and including a legacy rolled lightweight life support and whatnot, you can get to 99 point something light years.
But I think, I mean, from my impressions, what's so interesting about this Distant World expedition compared to the one I went on, the first, the 3302 one, is it feels, because all the jump ranges have increased and so many more people are coming along, and you've got fleet carriers and you've got all these different storylines and project-based things going on. It's a level of exploration that I didn't really think was possible 10 years ago. It was back then. It was just us all jumping individually, and we met up at the rendezvous points as and when if we could instant in correctly, what have you. But here, there's a level of organization and a level of involvement that's I think is so well done and so kind of involving. That I'm in awe of it. And it's become a world where all these big jump ranges allow much more possibilities, I think, in terms of gameplay loops and what have you. So yeah, thoroughly enjoying it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what have you typically been doing in Elite? Just exploring all the time? Have you done other things?
Well, I started doing exobiology, and I didn't realize the utter disconnect between the money you get from exobiology and for exploration.
Oh yeah.
And again, this speaks to me not having been in the game. So when I got back from Saggy A, I was exploring northwards when I kind of left the game about 6 years ago or something, whenever it was. So when I picked it up again about 4 weeks ago or whatever, and I was still flying the same Lakon Type 6 that was on the way back from Beagle Point. And I started jumping back as quickly as I could to get back to the bubble. And I was like, oh, you can, this mate of mine who still plays it, he said, you can land on planets and scan plants and stuff. And I was like, oh, right. So I started doing that. I was like, well, I'm not really into it. It's a bit repetitive. But I was warring with the idea I've got to get back quickly. And I got back into the bubble, and the first place I could get to share my cartographic data, Universal Cartographics, dumped all of that. And I thought, well, I can get that much, as far as I was aware, for exobiology. And wandered off and started to explore the inside of a fleet carrier, which I'd never seen before. And it's like, oh, this was like 3 weeks ago, remember? So it's all sort of brand new to me. And I wander into this room that's, what's it called? Genomics something or other, whatever the kind of trade is called. Vista Genomics, that's it, isn't it? And she says, would you like to hand in your exobiology data? And it's like, oh, I thought I already had it, Universal Cartographics, thinking it was all bundled as the same thing. So I submitted it thinking, oh, I've got some more money. It was like, how much? And it doubled the cartographic data I brought back from Saggy A. And since that point, I've become addicted. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, is just like enjoying the verticality of going into the system, scanning it, going over the planet, scanning the planet, dropping down, and kind of getting all the plants. And initially I thought it was a bit boring, but now I'm completely addicted to it because I want to get a fleet carrier. So I need to build up the billions, basically. So that at the moment, that's mostly what I'm doing. I'm not a great fan of SRV rallies. I love watching them, but I'm really, really crap at them. I tend to like to explore planets just driving around, or a bit of mountaineering. So at the moment, I'm kind of still doing what I used to do, but I'm hoping as the expedition builds up more momentum, and a bit more when the narrative starts to emerge and various groups start to kind of cohere, I'll get more sucked into that, I think.
Yeah, it's insane how much more money you get from exobiology. Have you been regularly handing it in, or are you piling it up?
Well, I was piling it up, and then this friend of mine said, you really should get ED Copilot, which I'd never heard of, and now it's like such a game changer. So I can see the amount in principle that's tallying up. So I kind of rush and cash it all in just because it's quite a buzz. I still can't get my head around the disparity between. Like, I landed on one planet, and it had over 30 different. The system itself had over 30 different biologic readings, and I came away with, I forget how much. It was almost close, 350 or 450 million or something. I think I can't remember the exact figure, but like, it would take me weeks to build up that kind of cartographic data from just by scanning planets. I don't understand the disparity. The only thing I can think of is it's there to get you to grind up to buy fleet carriers and put more fleet carriers in the game. But then why wouldn't you do that with the cartographic data? I think there needs to be a reset, because although it's exciting doing it because of the buzz of earning so much money, it does feel a bit off in terms of how it's relating to the cartographic stuff. But like I say, I'm only new back into the game the last 4 weeks, so maybe you guys have had more experience and discussions about why it's gone this way. Was it always this lucrative?
As far as I'm aware, I haven't really done exobiology until last summer. I've barely played the game, and from what I know, it's always been like this, and I was quite surprised when I learned of it. There are some other
Yeah, same.
methods in game that can net you that kind of money.
Oh, right.
So I think they just wanted to have that available because of the diversity of gameplay loops. You know, different people are into different things. You know, there are wing assassination missions that you can stack and then use a power play bonus to boost them. You can do Fargoid hunting and so on. And all these activities can be very lucrative if you do them right and have the correct equipment for them.
Right. Yeah, that's speaks to a lot of my inexperience because I've done so little. I play in the bubble itself. Very early on, I got the late contact 6 and just left to go out into the black. I prefer the solitude of it all and I wouldn't say simplicity, but the abstractness of the game loop, like you're jumping in, scanning. I like the geometry of all of that. The odd strange system that you come across. So, like, have you heard? Did you? I know they reset the game and they wiped it out, but do you remember? Did you ever hear of Mount Everest?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was one of the first 3 that ascended that in my alt commander's name, which was Hated Nightfall. This person we didn't know said he'd found this mountain that was bigger than the orbital line of a planet, and he contacted his friend, who I was a friend of, and we all decided to go over there and try and SRV up it because I love mountaineering, and SRV mountaineering is a really great way to kind of play the game for me. And it never occurred to us for 1 second that it actually breaks the orbital line. So what do you think is going to happen? We didn't really figure that through, so we were just driving up and then we're drifting off into space because it went higher. The mountain went higher than the gravity of the planet. But in game terms, we clipped through the geometry. And then
Yeah, I think they fixed that at some point, so you could actually
get. They did. Yeah, they reduced the scale of the mountain, and I thought that was one of the steps that led me to gradually drifting off the game, because it was discovering little freaky things like that the game, the software or the coding, whatever, brought up, little fluky things that I really enjoyed stumbling over. Like, I don't know if you remember back in the early days, these giant impact craters that had sheer-sided walls, canyon walls around the side. They were massive. They all got smoothed down into a kind of more natural looking thing.
Yeah.
Again, there was a bit of a loss of the kind of wonder there, even though you knew it was a kind of glitch in the system.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's a lot. Like the entire Surface generation has been completely remodeled with the release of Odyssey. And we can still find some interesting things. They're a bit harder to find now. I did find, when I did scouting for this expedition, I did find a mountain that was about the same height as Mount Everest, so I think 8.8 kilometers high, and you could see it from space, which was really cool. I'm not sure if we go anywhere near it. I don't know the route, unfortunately. But yeah, that was a cool find, sure. And I've never done the Neverest climb. It was always on my to-do list. I've never gotten around to it. Technically, I can still launch back into Legacy mode and go do it. I just, I just need to get the time, find the time to actually do that.
It was certainly something at the time, because the first time we drifted off, the 3 of us, 2 fell back down just from the way they were working their attitude thrusters on the SRVs. But I didn't. I ended up drifting up, and then I can't remember his name, but he got into his Cobra, which is, as you know, is a fairly flat-topped spacecraft, and he was able to kind of get up into orbit and nudge me back down towards the planet, to the point where gravity kicked in, and then I fell back down, bounced down Everest, and was desperately repairing the hull and landed back at the bottom. The second attempt was a deliberate attempt to stay in space to see what would happen. And as long as you didn't log out, you actually drifted off into space. But the moment you logged out and re-logged back into the game, you were still there in space, but you had no control over the SRV. It was dead in the water. It was like you couldn't activate the jets or the thrusters or anything on it. So it wasn't going anywhere. It just glitched there in that spot. So that kind of broke the immersion a little bit in terms of thinking I could just keep on like jetting and thrusting the SRV through space until
Yeah.
some strange commander instanced into my location and saw an SRV float across his bow or something stupid like that. It was all good fun at the time, and there's still, as I'm sure there is in all of us, a yearning to stumble across some freak of geometry or code or what have you on a planet that presents another great adventure like that.
And we've talked about this phenomenon of SRV in space 2 episodes ago, and we had the racing episode, because you can still get there through other methods. It's not always simple. If you find a really low gravity planet with geysers that can shoot you up, you can get there in a single jump. You need to be a little lucky. But otherwise, if you do this wave hopping where you tilt forward and
Yep.
boost all the time, you gain more and more speed. And when you find a slope and you bounce off that slope and you get even higher, you can also reach that orbit. And yeah, what you described is you have no control over the SRV, and only logging out and logging back in, and then someone bouncing you down would save you.
That sounds good. I hopefully we'll find something similar in the next few weeks, and we can do an SRV launch race.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. That we can find something like that. Would be fun.
That would be fun. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I did see a video of someone. I think it was Alec Turner actually, of climbing Mount Everest, and it isn't just a typical mountain climb of what you usually do in Elite. You have this one wall kind of that you, or ridge that you gradually go up, but you actually had to navigate a route to get up there and jump over crevasses and stuff like.
Oh yes, yeah. We never got that. We were kind of approaching it from a kind of expedition sense of like, we'll try and get to that point there and then bring in the ships to land, and as if it was a base camp, and then the next day we'd log back in and carry on the climb. But it never really panned out like that, unfortunately. But my understanding is that because the mountain was so huge, and so problematic, like you couldn't really see where the top was from in your SRV. And I was playing in those days back with a Vive HTC VR headset, and it was stomach churning because you'd look out around the canopy of the SRV and you'd realize you were kind of going up at maybe 50, 60 degrees, and your wheels were spinning, you were slipping slightly, and in a VR context, there was certainly a lot of nausea in my head going on. So that added both, immersion, but also like, this is actually quite difficult. I need to take the headset off and relax a bit now, so I need to find a flat bit I can just park up the SRV. So that was good fun, but exhausting at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't have a VR headset. I've only tried it briefly. So
How did you take to it then? Was it some people find it quite a nauseous experience,
no,
particularly
it
the
was
SRV
fine.
side.
Well, I wasn't in an SRV. I was on a ship and was flying around a bit. But that was fine, at least for the couple minutes that I did.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried SRVs in VR either. I only had a borrowed headset at some time, but that was actually around the time where I wasn't playing Elite much. But yeah,
Yeah.
in general, it was quite the nice experience to play it in VR.
Yeah, it was something I really enjoyed. And then Odyssey came out, and it wasn't going to be in VR. And this is when I was beginning to get a real sense that perhaps Elite Dangerous was reaching kind of an end game in terms of creator content or updates or whatever. And I was beginning to drift away a little bit. And I think Odyssey, if I'm sure if you were all around at the time, Odyssey was a bit of a disaster when it launched.
Yeah.
And that was one of the nails in the coffin, as it were, I think. And it seemed I'm kind of glad I did leave for a number of years, because coming back now, it's almost, not quite, but it's almost like a different game. There's so much more content in that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. Just walking around the fleet carrier for the first time was just like, oh, what does this do? What do if I go over here? It was like really exciting, because I've never seen stuff like this before. You could actually walk into the Vista genomics and the other areas, what have you. Same with the stations now. You can, I know it's a very limited hub area, but the fact you never could do anything like that in the past, and now you've got that option is, for me, quite exciting. Don't know how long that'll last, but at the moment, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, we're also gonna get some new content soon that involves more interior spaces. From what I remember is they wanted to integrate multi-stage missions that involve megaships, so that you get into the inside of a megaship and then you have a combat mission in there.
Right. Yeah, I've not really done any combat. Does it work?
That
in
sounds
Elite Dangerous?
awfully like Star Citizen.
We don't have any interiors for megaships yet, or there are megaships that you can't even dock at. So I wonder if those will be the ones where you can do this kind of content.
Yeah, possibly, yes.
But I also said it's not that the update will not just be combat missions, but it will also have stuff for mining and exploration. They didn't.
Be good.
Yeah, they didn't specify though. So, and you never know. Maybe they delayed that part as well, or maybe they changed their minds. So,
Yeah.
You're still waiting on it.
I guess we will see.
Yes.
Yeah, DevBlog on Monday they teased a new ship, and I have no idea what kind of ship they would be bringing next. Honestly.
No, I watched. Is it the Burr Pit
Yeah.
video just now where he was flagging up? There was a picture at the end of this new, like, this ship in shadow with a figure standing before it for scale, and it almost looked, I wouldn't say menacing, but sort of aggressive in a kind of powerful sense, like it was emerging from the darkness. So there's a sort of sense of foreboding or threat there. And I'm wondering if that's tied into what you're saying about this operations update that's coming in that's a bit more combat orientated.
That's the only thing that I could think of. So we got a trading ship, a large pad. We got a new large pad exploration ship, and we got the mining ship recently. So the big thing that's kind of left is a new large pad combat ship. So that could be the case. Because we already got a small pad combat ship, which is the Cobra Mark V. And
are there any actual combat ships for multi-crew, like dedicated to multi-crew yet?
I'm not sure.
That's what I was going to get at. I believe they're adding something that has to do with multi-crew for these missions, and you're also supposedly going to be able to queue up on it like CQC from anywhere in the galaxy and join with a group of people on a fleet carrier, and then bounce back to wherever you were.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna be. I guess it's gonna be a 4-seater ship then, so you can actually fit 4 people in it. Like the Panther Clipper has 4 seats, and the Caspian also has 4 seats. So.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to get the on-foot gameplay going in the game. That's what they seem to be pushing now, which is fun. If you haven't done it yet, you said you just came back. I did as well, and once I got into that was a lot of fun. It reminds me of the old.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the old Unreal Tournament. It's janky, but if you played old Unreal Tournament like 25 years ago, you'll remember it. Or like PlanetSide, it gives that kind of like nostalgic janky feeling of space combat.
I haven't. I've watched a few clips of the ground combat. Combat's not something I'm intrinsically drawn to. I could grow into it, but exploration and being out the black's the primary thing. But if there's a new game loop through operations coming in that's exciting and ties a lot of things together, because again, like I said, the exobiology for me is like, oh, I can see the verticality now when you jump into a system. You go deeper and deeper into the planet, scan the planet. Now you go down to the planet surface and you scout what's on the planet surface and so on and so forth. That might work. That might draw me in. That'd be quite interesting. And if there's a new ship, as you're intimating, that's coming out to tie into that, that would be even more exciting for me.
Yeah, it is. It's cooperative gameplay, right? You team up with a couple of friends, and in a game like this, that's always the most fun for me personally, doing things together with people.
Yeah.
And don't forget, it's not just combat. There's you take out the engineer, and if you want to engineer that suit or any of the firearms in the game, you're going to have to get on the ground and scan certain things to unlock that engineer. So there's an entire, really not, well, there's some combat in it, but it's more of sneaking around and scanning things, gameplay loop, and cutting open the panels and stuff like that to break in.
Nice. That sounds good.
There is. I started looking into the engineering side of the Odyssey content, and I found a guide which mentioned a specific settlement and how you could actually get a level 5 what was it, level 3 authorization very very easily through stealth, just by scanning or by cloning someone's profile through a window, and then they showed where the alarm console is, so you can easily turn off the alarms. And then once you've done that, you can just go around the settlement and kill everyone one by one, and there's not gonna be any alarms, so they won't swarm
Yes.
you. So I've done that a couple times. It was actually fun.
No parkouring in space, as in like a zero-G Assassin's Creed style or something.
Yeah. Well, if you have really low gravity planets or moons, which to be honest most of them are, and you jump really high.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and to come back to the whole rescue thing, because I've dropped out at the tourist beacon they left here now.
Is that a
Unfortunately,
POI all for Germanium?
yes, yeah, it is above the rings
Very
actually.
cool.
So probably the very same rings that you were in.
Right.
Yeah, sometime last year we got a very very sad message from Chiggy's wife, I believe, who told us that unfortunately he had passed away. And I think that really came as a shock to the exploration community, because Chiggy was a very well known explorer, was at the number one first discovered systems spot of EDSM for quite a while. And yeah, we will hold a memorial for him on Sunday
Yes.
that people are very much invited to join. I unfortunately, my schedule doesn't quite allow me to be there myself, so that's why I had to find someone else to host it. But yeah, everyone is invited to join that. It's gonna happen in the system VonRictofen's rescue, and at the end of that event there will be a mass jump to Macedonica's leap, which is the other system that you were the only system that you could jump to. So it was also named after you.
Yeah. I think it was the escape system, wasn't it? The one that got me out, the doorway out of. I don't really remember the details. I'll have to go back and reread the thread or whatever. But it was when a friend of mine a few weeks ago said there's going to be a new Distant Worlds expedition, and it piqued my interest. Thinking, oh, I really would like to get excuse or find an excuse to get back into the game. So I got the game downloaded, got back into it, and thought I'd reread that end of the road thread that I'd started, and was absolutely gutted to see that Chiggy had passed. It floored me. I had not being involved in the game, I had no reason to know, but it was not something that I was expecting in the slightest, and it really added a kind of bittersweet quality or tone to me getting back into Elite Dangerous. I don't want to make this about me or anything like that, but it was like that excitement of getting involved in something, and then that gut punch of realizing that Chiggy had passed away. That's still sort of echoing through me, because obviously his role had a great impact on me in terms of saving the character and being able for me to get out of that system and carry on playing what have you. It was a bleak feeling to land on that thread, thinking, oh, I'll just relive some of the memories, and then so I went to the end first just to see if anything new had been posted, and stumbled into 2 pages of condolences about Chiggy, and that really hit hard.
So what was your relationship with him after your rescue?
Nothing. We shared a couple of messages as friends. He was off hunting in the millions and millions of Earthlight worlds that he accrued, but we never met up again. It was one of those. It was like an angel came in and kind of rescued me, and then went away and did his own thing again. It was bitter and sweet because it was such a brief relationship. I'm not even sure we shared that much communications in system when he was mining for the germanium. It was such a bright window, very short, very intense. And after that, I just would always open up the galactic map just to see where he was, and he was just all over the place. It was just insane. I was completely jealous, to be honest, that he had the dedication to range that far. Although perversely, something happened to me a couple of days. Well, I think it was last week, where I actually, unironically, kind of touched the truth of what it takes to cross enormous distances, and I replayed some of that. But other than the rescue, I had no other real communication with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think
Right now I'm wondering what other people's experiences or with him were. I wonder if there's anybody in the audience who has like stories to share with him.
I think we have people who knew a bit about him. I know someone talked to his wife, who will be at the memorial. So I myself also, I always knew about him. I saw his name on systems, or I saw it in the database, that sort of. But I've never personally talked with him. But I was also still devastated to hear about it. Because that his name was so present.
Yes, yeah. He was a legend for the whole scouring the galaxy for Earth-like worlds, and I knew a number of commanders by repute had hooked up with him on various occasions to tour with him on that journey. So I think his impact upon us all at the time then, and after I left, it carried on, had a huge impact on people. He will be sorely missed, I think. I don't know of anybody who's ever equaled his achievements in the game to date.
I don't think it's going to be able to be done either, because when you think about it, it was a different game back then. Now you can jump from Beagle Point to Colonia in about 6 hours. What he was doing back then, in the amount of time it took to get around places, was totally different. So, I mean, it's a different scale of the game at this point.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right about that. When I was live streaming the rescue thing on the final day, 3 hours or final 3 hours or whatever it was, and I would go into the galaxy map to show people where Chiggy was and how closer he was getting. It would take me a few minutes to actually locate him, because he'd have moved so fast in the relative terms back in those days, like 10 years ago, whatever. that it was just an astonishing sight to see. It was like watching someone move real time across the galaxy, like a stone skipping through the stars, as it were. It was just utterly amazing. And then when he finally landed in system, there his ship was, and it pinged up on the contacts board. It was like something out of a movie. I think I actually said something, "Oh my god, contact in system," or whatever the silly little phrase that burst out of me was at the time, because it was so overwhelming. And he's actually there now, because at that point he was just been like a blip on the galaxy map, moving closer and closer. Therefore, there was a sense of perhaps unreality about it, that it was on some other scale. Then he just popped into the system, and it was, I think, from the day I first posted to when he finally arrived was maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days. I'm not quite sure the time scale now. But you're right. These days, as I found out only last week, you can get from the bubble back to Beagle Point, and depending on what time you've got to commit to the game, a couple of days. With these higher jump ranges, so although the galaxy shrunk in terms of the experiences you can have now and traveling distances, I think his impact, his footprint, as it were, will outlive that. It'll still be legendary.
Yeah, it became kind of customary for explorers to install a mining laser on their ships.
Yes,
Of this.
it was known as the Chiggy laser,
Yeah.
which I still
that's
have
where
on
it's
my
from,
Lake
all right.
on my Lakon Type
Um,
6, and I used it today to go mining to see if I could find some germanium, just to kind of get, oh yeah, that's what we used, that's what he did. It's like, and now I can't find any, which is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I don't have one with me currently, because I don't. We have a fleet carriers now, and I have a dedicated mining ship stored on one of the carriers. So if I want to go mining,
There's
I can
there's no
switch
need
to
to
it.
brag about it. Yeah, it has. Like I back in the day, this sounds like I'm the old fart who goes on about the old days or what have you. But back in the day, you always carried 2 SRVs, because I did actually lose one on a trip where it went down a canyon and I couldn't get out and I had to self-destruct. So you always carried a backup.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. But now it's like, oh, I'll just dock at a fleet carrier and get another one. It's like
yeah.
the dynamic. It's like we're more tourists now than we are explorers. But that again, I think that's just a mental state, isn't it? I still travel.
Oh, I
with
think
Type
that will
6.
change in
Yeah.
the coming weeks, because this expedition kind of rushed out to Beagle Point, and we will focus on some actual exploration and surveying soon. Trademark. Yeah, we'll go through some areas that are less explored, and then people will find lots and lots of things, hopefully, and all that sort of a science project will kick into gear and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's already started that for me, because I did the trip today out to Salome's Reach, if that's the right name, from Beagle Point, and I had to boost my jump to get, I think it was an 80 light year jump between the 2 stars, and I had to boost to do it. But I realized I only had enough materials for the boost for 100% boost, so I had to land on a planet that also had 5 biologicals, and mine for arsenic, which was the ingredient I was missing. So it was like, oh, it's like the old days, because I haven't done that since I got back into the game. And I thought that was really nice, because back in Distant World 3302, we didn't know that existed. We couldn't get to that. We didn't have the jump ranges for it. And now the Distant World fleet, as it were, has got here, and we can now, as stepping stones, get out to that point where I've never been before. So that was a lovely experience today, to set down on the planet. So hopefully, as you're intimating, a lot more interesting things of that nature is going to be coming down the line in the next few weeks, which I'm really looking forward to.
Have you been to Salome's Reach?
Yeah, I went about 7 days ago.
Sorry, you talked over each other, one at a time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Let's be
Felix?
Yes.
the furthest moon. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, cool. I haven't been until this expedition, so that was a first for me.
I've actually led an expedition there myself which I had limited to small size ships only. Because after I went there on Distant Worlds 2, I was doing a little theory crafting with together with Shank, and we wondered if a Sidewinder could actually get there. And we did some fiddling with Coriolis, and we found out that in fact a Sidewinder can get enough jump range that with FSD boosting it can get there. And I figured, like, wouldn't it be fun if we made a whole expedition themed around this? And then we did the Perseus Reach expedition, which was traveling up the Perseus arm through the western side of the galaxy with only small pad ships. So we had a lot of Diamondback explorers, dolphins, and I myself was flying a Cobra Mark III.
Isn't it kind of wild that you can actually reach, like, what is it, 83 light years with the Sidewinder? Or what's the thing you need to bridge the gap?
Yeah,
That's
it's 83.7
wild.
or something. 83.7 is the largest jump.
Wasn't there an expedition roughly around the time when I was kind of walking away from the game? Was there not an expedition that went to some furthest point, but you couldn't get back from it, so they self-destructed? They went there just to see what was up there or something. Am I making that up, or was that ringing a bell?
No, yeah, that existed. It's called the Concrete Cluster, and there was a cluster of star systems that you could only reach by doing a neutron jump, and there was no neutron star on the other side, so you couldn't get back from it. And when fleet carriers released, then people immediately went up there to scan and tag everything.
Wow, nothing like vanity.
Yeah. And the expedition was called the Distant Stars Expedition. So at the end, everyone in their anacondas and maybe a few asps crashed into the ground, and they left a POI there called the Anaconda Graveyard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just checked my materials, and the one I need more of is niobium. I only have 8. Germanium I have 69 at the moment. Yttrium.
I actually need arsenic. I have a lot of everything except arsenic, and for the other ones, I'm actually missing vanadium the most. I think I got 12 last night.
Yeah, arsenic I have 78.
Wow.
Yeah, the standard one. Okay, for the standard injection, I can only do 3. Then I only have 3 cadmium. But
oh, right.
And I also need more. What was it? For the FSD premium, not FSD, the SRV premium repair, I need more zinc at the moment.
Right.
Who's that? Someone's right in my face. Commander Duck Commander.
Nice. Can I tell you a story about what happened to me a week and a half ago? And it's a story that can either be about how adventurous I am as a commander or how idiotic I am as a commander. And
we hate stories here.
Oh, right. What, really? No. That's irony, isn't it, or sarcasm? So I'll leave it to you to decide whether you want the heroic adventurous commander story or version, or the I'm actually a bumbling idiot commander. And this might deflate this. You introduced me as the legendary. This might very well deflate that aura or halo that you created, because it doesn't really exist. I'm not a legend.
So
it was Chiggy who was the legend.
Counter question: which one can you tell funnier?
Yeah, it's definitely me as a bumbling idiot, isn't it? Would you like to hear the story, or shall I just
Yes,
Yeah.
still pretend?
please. Please. You've teased
All right,
it
all
now.
right.
You have to tell it.
So this is a story about how bumbling and idiotic I am, and it also morphs into, oh, this may be a lovely way to commemorate the memory of Chiggy VonRictofen, but that's for the community to decide. It's not something I would want to impose or what have you. So I'm wandering around the fleet carriers for the first time. I've never really gone into them, and I don't really know. I'm the kind of player who, if the game in itself doesn't teach me what to do, I'm not going to go to YouTube or an article outside. So I like to stay immersed in the reality or the structure, whatever the game gives you. So if I come across something that makes no sense, that's a problem for me, and it's like that's where my gameplay kind of becomes, interesting. So I'm wandering around, and there's like Vista Genomics, and oh, you can get taxis now. How does that work? So all this sort of stuff. It's like, turns out it doesn't work very well if you're really a long way away or what have you. So I'm wandering down a corridor, and what do you think I come across that I've never seen before? Any suggestions? Can anyone volunteer what you think I might have stumbled into that would have got me scratching?
The
It's interactive. I'll give you that hint.
Exobiology. I know it's a bad
Nope.
guess, but
No, it's in a corridor. It's not in a room.
in a corridor. Oh, the escape pod.
Yes. So I'm standing. It's like, wait, you can interact with this. And there's a moment where I'm thinking, don't do it, Francis. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's another part of me thinking, like, well, what's the worst that could happen? It's an escape pod. How does it work? I've never had there's never been escape pods in the game, and we're at the second rendezvous, or is it the first rendezvous? The rendezvous point, not Beagle Point, not the one before that, but the one before that. Is that rendezvous point 1, isn't it?
There was a system that's actually called Rendezvous Point.
Yes, that's it. We're at rendezvous point. I'm thinking, okay, there's like 4 fleet carriers minimum in the system, plus a load of unauthorized ones, which I don't know whether I can trust them or not, all that sort of stuff. It's that moment where, like, if I walk away, it's going to bug me forever, or I just hit the escape pod button. And it's like, if you follow the logic of the game through, it will launch an escape pod, right? And there's fleet carriers all around, so I'm just going to turn up in one of the other fleet carriers, aren't I? No, I end up in Colonia. This is like, we're all at rendezvous point 1. It's like, I wake up in some dock, like, I can't reclaim a ship, so I have to get a sidewinder or what have you. It's like, I'm in Colonia, like, which is like 60,000 light years away, or whatever it is. It's like, oh shit. So I don't know if I can swear, but it was like the most heartbreaking. I've got to get back to the Distant Worlds 3 fleet. How do I even do that? So I self-destruct, and I end up back in the bubble for some reason. I didn't quite know how that worked out. Where I had a couple
What?
yeah, don't ask me. I don't know what was going on, but I had a couple of ships stored there, so I think it must have shunted me over to the bubble. So I spent a week in the bubble, roughly fitting up a Diamondback Explorer, going to a Guardian site, which I never knew existed, and doing that blueprint thing. And I'd paid to have my ships couriered back to me to the bubble from rendezvous point 1, from the Odysseus, thinking once the ship comes back, I'll then buckyball it back to the fleet. It's going to be so depressing because the Lakon at the moment, it now has a 38 jump year range, I think. That's going to be so hard. And then I looked at, like, on the online options, like, oh, I can buy an upgraded Massive Explorer with a 70, it's now engineered up to a 70 light year range. So I bought that. So it's like, okay, I'll just run as hard as I can all the way from the bubble back to the fleet at rendezvous point 1, which of course is going to move by the time I get there. So eventually I catch up. I left on Thursday evening, and I caught up with the carrier fleet on Saturday afternoon. And I thought, so that's how Chiggy did it. I mean, obviously, I'm running with probably double the jump range he had on each individual jump, but you just get into the groove. You put on a YouTube clip on your iPad by the side of your PC, or however you got your monitors set up. And I work, because my friend said, why don't you do the Neutron Superhighway? And it's like, well, okay, I can jump in, scoop, scan, and jump out within 60 seconds. I've got a 70-year 70 jump range on this thing. If I go for the Neutron Superhighway, I'm going to get about 350 range. By the time I've boosted, set up, programmed in the jump, it's actually quicker to do it my way than it is to go by the Neutron. So I was learning all this stuff, and by the time I caught up with the fleet last week, it was like, is this the possibility for like a Chiggy Buckyball commemoration race that's done once a year where everybody jumps in an escape pod at Beagle Point?
Oh my
They
god.
all friend each other. They emerge at Colonia. They can't use a ship they already own. They can't buy one off the store. They have to roughly patch up a ship and race back to Beagle Point while tracking each other's progress through the galaxy. It's like, how awesome would that? It'd be like one of those Carry On or Wacky Races movies. You know, those things where they all do these crazy things. And they'd be like seeing how quickly the others, like, do you throw together a really bad ship early on just to get a head start? Or do you play a few days of engineering stuff?
I gotta pitch that to Alec Turner. See what he says.
Chad is already saying, great idea.
I think it could work, all because I'm an idiot when it comes to stuff like this. Because you know the thing about Bluebeard's castle, don't you? Like where this one marries Bluebeard, and he says, "Here's the keys to the castle. These keys open all the doors in the castle, but you must not open that one door at the back." And of course, what's the one door you're going to open? It's the one at the back, isn't it? The one that unlocks all. That's what the escape pod. It's like if I don't try it out now, it's going to obsess me for the rest of the game. So yeah, I was an idiot, and I woke up in Colonia. It was like, oh, the sheer depression that kicked in. My jaw hit the desk, and I was like, oh. Because I just buckyballed from Saggy A all the way back to the launch point, thinking this is hard work using the Lakon Type 6 with its lower jump range. The idea of going all the way back out again was just so soul destroying. But then it clicked. You get into the groove. If you think of it as just a repetition thing, a muscle memory, jump, scoop, jump, scan, scoop, jump out again within 60 seconds. It becomes almost meditative. Do you know what I don't know if you guys have done that gameplay loop.
Oh yeah.
Covering huge.
Yeah, definitely.
You get into a different mindset. Or certainly I did. I don't know if you all had the same experience, but it actually becomes almost relaxing, in a way. Or do you think I'm exaggerating that a bit?
I usually do that when I get back from an exploration trip back to the bubble, and at some point I reach the point. Okay, I just want to get back now, and then I usually I often watch Twitch live streams on the side.
Oh yes,
and then
yeah.
I also did that yesterday and today to catch back up to here, because I was still at waypoint 2 yesterday. So and I started because I had to take care of a lot of organizing and so on. So I couldn't get to playing the game, and I started telling people, okay, I actually want to play now. Please leave me some quiet now so I can catch up. Just so I could be here now.
Yeah, this stuff is kind of fun. That's how many different ways of playing Elite there are.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I tend to fall into the more meditative gameplay loops, like the exploration, driving around, mountain climbing, and things like that. The few times I've been in the bubble recently, it overwhelms me with the amount of content, and I kind of get this itch to get back out into the black where it's quiet and peaceful, and it's just me on my own pottering about. But I suddenly realize I sound like a sado.
Like a what?
A sad person, a sado.
Oh no. I mean, not really, to me at least. Maybe I'm a sad person too, but who knows?
A collective. What's the collective?
Sounds quite peaceful though.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
but one of the things I've been wondering. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. Is that my memories of Distant World 3302 were very like it wasn't complicated. You arrived at the rendezvous points. You mucked about a bit, and then you all launched off and went on to the next one. It was all planned out in advance. So this one, I'm kind of really in awe of I've said this a few times this evening because I'm still impressed with it all. It's like I can't imagine what the organizational side of the thing must be like on all the different Discord channels and the story events that are going on and the fleet carriers moving and the updates and so
Yeah,
on.
we have an
It's been
entire server just for the organization.
wow. It must be exhausting, but thrilling at the same time. I'm hoping.
Thrilling, definitely, yes.
Oh, good.
Thrilling is usually when you've made a plan and you are about to post the announcement. That's the most thrilling part, and then the second most thrilling part is when you're just about to start the actual event. So is it gonna
Yes, I
work?
can imagine.
I
Yes,
usually get
yeah.
actual jitters beforehand. No,
Yeah,
at least
and
that's like that for me for the podcast.
and my trial of fire was last weekend when it actually didn't work the way I wanted
Oh,
to.
what happened last week then? If you don't mind
My game kept
talking about it.
crashing, and I was supposed to lead a mass jump, and I couldn't wing in any
Oh,
people
yes.
because my game was
Yes.
crashing.
I meant yes. I was one of the people queuing up, and the Discord channels were kind of aflame with people struggling to get in or failing, or and organizers posting that the game was crashing, what have you. I think it's fair to say that wasn't a reflection of any of you guys. It was just the limitations of, as we all know, Elite Dangerous as being a 10-year-old game, isn't it?
I think I was just being DDoSed by all the friend requests because I hadn't posted in advance that people should send a friend request to my alt command. I kind of forgot about that. So I got over 200 within, I don't know, 30 minutes or something. And
So everyone, please send friend requests to Dr. Nagi because
yeah.
either you want to be friends with him or do a mass jump. And one question I had, the actual issue hasn't been really resolved yet now, so we don't really know if it's gonna be happening on Sunday this time again with the record attempt.
Yeah, but we have a better plan now because we have a whole list of people who will help out with bringing people in. So there, if you look at the
I saw that. I think that's one of the great strengths of what's been happening so far in the Distant World fleet is it's about learning as we go along. So that mass jump failed for whatever reason, but now you're trying a different approach. There's a different structure in place, and it's still early days, isn't it? Really, in terms of the expedition as a whole. So there's a lot of potential to grow and get better.
yeah, the most
and more
frustrating
players get
part
involved.
for me at least is that one didn't work after I have done this so many times already. So I've done mass jumps on distant worlds too, with sign-ups and everything. I've done them on my own expedition. I was part of mass jumps on other expeditions before that even. We've done the launch jump. We've done some pre-events last year to hype up for the expedition, and all that had worked flawlessly. And this was the first time when my game crashed during this, so I was so disappointed in that moment.
But I think in a perverse way, it was a memorable event because I remember it. I remember queuing up. There was a bot or something that said your request has been accepted. Wait till your name's pinged. Obviously, it all fell apart and what have you. But it itself's part of the adventure in a way, isn't it? Kind of the chaos, the confusion, and the learning from it.
Yeah.
It's an event you can talk about as we're doing right now. That's that becomes part of the genetics of this particular distant world event. And in 3 or 4 weeks or a month's time or whatever, there'll be a different, much more polished, much more effortless structure in place. I think that we can all kind of benefit from. We'll look back on this and just laugh and drink lots of Lavian brandy to kind of get over the shock of that.
Yeah, to add on to that, this is Benrick, by the way. I haven't said anything. I've never been in the podcast before, so I'm a new guy around here.
Hi.
But I haven't got one of those mass jumps to work yet. Every time I get in, I crash my game or something happens and I can't get winged in, and I'm looking forward to actually getting into one. That's my goal right now.
Well, they say that anticipation's half the journey, right? So
it really is. It really is. And it's kind of funny to like see all of the people that are involved in it. You know, there's like 3 people that I have to add. One person can't get me in. I'm on to the next, and then I crash, and then they crash, and now we're both trying to get back in. So it's kind of fun, you know. It's the
Yeah.
whole
So,
thing.
am I right in thinking you're a masochist?
Yes, yes, that would be correct.
Aren't we
No, but
all a bit in
it
this
is.
game?
Yes, yes. With this, particularly with Elite Dangerous and its cracks and flaws. Although
Yep.
like I said earlier, coming back after a few years hiatus, it's mushroomed beyond anything I predict. I thought the game was going to slowly die. There was a lack of frontier investment, and a lot of the early designers left or whatever. But it seems to have. I don't want to jinx it by saying it, but it seems to be hitting a renaissance right now. I'm not
You
quite
wouldn't be the
sure,
first to say it.
Yep.
but I don't know why, because there's not a lot of money going into it at the back end. I don't think it's not like it's being reinvested in, but something's happened, or they've changed
I think leadership changed.
the what? Sorry.
I think leadership changed
At Frontier.
Right.
in terms of Elite. Like
Yeah.
like the development team kind of got
Right.
like
I mean-
second wind, so to speak.
It's also that they spent at least 2 years or something after Odyssey released just fixing bugs, right? They didn't get anything new into the game. They were just fixing bugs. And just recently they started adding the new ships, and they had the whole Fargate War arc, and I don't actually remember. There was something early last year. Oh, it was the colonization update, of course. Yeah, that pulled a lot of people back in. That you can colonize your own star systems.
Yeah, that's a big thing for money.
Yeah, I haven't made
Like
enough
many
money
people
to
had
start doing that yet.
like
No, I've just started to make. I think I'm up to 4.2 billion
Which
just
fleet
through
carrier?
exobiology over the last
I've-
3 weeks or something.
To
always
be
ever
fair-
barely cracked $1 billion. And right now I'm at like 300 million something, just enough to outfit a ship from the bubble to get back to Beagle Point with this suggested event. I'm just gonna buy another large ship and just jump.
To be
I
fair, you
forgot
don't
what I was
you
about
don't
to
you
say
don't
before
need
I started talking about that. Damn.
yeah you don't need that much money to actually colonize a system. What you do is you buy a beacon which costs 25 million. That's pocket change.
Yeah.
And then
Like,
Yeah, and then you just ask other people to do the actual construction work.
yeah. There is an organization called Operation Ida, and they used to run the station repair missions, which it was just about hauling commodities to starports, right? And the colonization thing is the exact same thing. You need to haul specific commodities in order to build something, and since that's what they've been doing, and there have been no more Fargoid attacks for a while, they shifted their focus to helping other people build their stations.
Somebody doesn't know anything about this. What's the benefit of colonizing a system? What's the gameplay loop? Is it like a fleet carrier?
Passive income. You leave a better mark on the galaxy than you can do with discoveries. Yeah, the entire gameplay loop around constructing all the like the installations and stations and ground settlements and all that. That is also an entirely new gameplay loop. I mean, hauling has always been there, but it's definitely something new to actually haul something and see it have an effect on like a tangible effect for yourself, not just in the BGS or something.
Yeah, that's a couple things involved with it. First of all, you get to put something in a cool place. Especially for the ground settlements, you can place them wherever you want, even if it's high up on the mountain. That works. The terrain.
Oh wow!
Oh,
right.
Yeah, the terrain gets adjusted so that it always fits. So if you have a building that's kind of looking over the edge, then the ground beneath that building gets raised up to form a plateau.
Nice.
That's one thing. And you can name things, which does cost arcs, but it's kind of cool. You can name things after people. And I believe we have something named after Chiggy in the Distant Worlds 3 launch system. You do get a passive income from your system, depending on how much you build and what you've built and how valuable that stuff is. You generate commodities in your markets, so you can plan them out in the way that they produce the stuff that you need to keep building.
Right.
You can also try to create a market that will be lucrative for trading. So you have your own kind of trading loop. There's a whole new station type which didn't exist before, but for now you have to buy the blueprint to be able to build it, but that will later be released for credits as well.
Is that the one that looks like a D&D die?
Yes.
That one looks cool. Yeah.
And there was another thing that I was thinking of earlier that I've lost again.
Asteroid bases?
Or
did you mention them already?
Sorry, what?
Asteroid bases.
There's also the ice asteroid base, which is also new. So you can have it looks like a regular asteroid base, but it's in an ice asteroid instead of a rocky one. That's new.
Missed the bubble.
Schematics?
Asteroid stations. Looking at cool stuff.
Yes.
And God, what was the thing?
You already mentioned the cosmetics, right?
No, but that's not what I was thinking of earlier. Something other immersive. That's kind of cool about colonization.
And does this have to be done in the loose bubble area, or could you do it in anywhere?
There, it's basically limited to the bubble, and any new system that has been colonized gets this contact that you have to use to expand. So and it's limited to 15 light years of range. So whatever system you colonize can be a maximum of 15 light years away from the previous one. And what we started doing is chaining systems. So we built a chain out of systems, and just 15 light years at a time go to the next, and we've gotten to a couple of different nebulas that are around the bubble. So we get further and further away from the bubble. There's a group that's building towards Colonia, and I don't know how far they've gotten by now. That is a thing.
Some nebula.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have been using that new feature to chain like towards the center of the galaxy and everything. But you can obviously I haven't paid attention for a second there, but you can rename your stations, which is also really, really cool. So it allows you to leave give them like immersive names.
For example, the first system I built has an ice asteroid station that's called Rixon's Shower, because we do like to joke about his shower and that he showers very, very cold.
Nice.
But yeah, what other immersive features are there for colonization? I cannot think of anything else.
Oh yeah, I remember. So when you are in a squadron, and that squadron is aligned with a PMF, a player faction, a player minor faction, and you colonize a system,
oh right,
then
yeah,
that faction is guaranteed to spawn in that system, so you can get your faction into other places, even though if it's nowhere near the core systems where your faction has been before. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and there's our deep space surveys and what's transorbital dynamics. Though those didn't have a presence in the bubble at all before colonization, I think. And yeah, we brought them in.
yeah, the Deep Space Surveys faction is the faction that controls the Explorer's anchorage at Sagittarius A star, the station we built on Distant Worlds 2. And
Yes.
Exactly.
we've used that faction. We brought that over to the new colonization systems we did with the Shoulder of Orion.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we're trying to
I
do
mean,
the lore
exactly.
too.
It's reminding me of like our article on Shoulder of Orion, and specifically, I remember the quote that someone like didn't see the appeal in like building out a system like by themselves, and where like colonization gets to shine is like when you have a player group or several people that are like pursuing some like some goal to like do it together.
And you get paid for doing it as well.
Yeah, the passive income is
Yeah,
one of the things that actually is quite nice as a reward from the shoulder of Orion, because if you were an architect on that part of the expedition or that prelude to the expedition, you're gonna get a quite the nice weekly payout.
And not only that, every commodity that you actually deliver to the colonization ship or any construction site, if that market pays more than the galactic average, so you always make a profit just in delivering stuff, even if it's someone else's system.
Yeah, it's always profitable to just build them. If you have a if you're a hauler, you're just gonna make a bunch of money just from building systems for other people.
nice.
I
So like
mean,
as a new
that's
player,
kind of
like
how it should be anyway.
it's crazy the amount of content that we have in this game. I mean, I got into combat when I started. Now I'm into exploration. Now I'm hearing that there's hundreds of hours of colonization stuff to do, and then hauling on top of that with the colonization. It is insane the amount of content in this game. I bought it for $2.50. Best deal of my life.
It's $2.50 you ever spent there.
It is, and then I've also spent 400 on my sticks, but you know, whatever.
I know. I've been trying to get. I dug out the VR headset that I used to play Elite Dangerous with from a storage box because after Elite Dangerous, I saw no reason to keep the VR headset like engaged. There was no other game I was playing, and I can't find the base stations. Without the base stations, I can't set up the
Ugh.
VR headset, and it's like I'm
And you
loath to
can I
buy.
replace it?
Well, I've gone on eBay. You can only buy the base stations as part of the actual VR Vive headset. They're not
What
Of
about
doing them
course.
like
building it yourself
separately. I
Ooh.
don't know how that would. Don't know how that would work.
with a Raspberry Pi or something? I'm quite sure there's like open source base station thingies out there. I would be surprised if there weren't.
It's not something I've looked into or know that much of, to be honest. But
And if
that's
you have an old
interesting.
webcam, you can just
No,
run.
I don't have a
OpenStack.
webcam. I've never had one, unfortunately. Bizarrely, I know everyone's like looking at me. You don't have. So when you get those emails from strange people to say, I've watched your certain history," it's like, you mean you need to pay me so much Bitcoin? It's like, mate, I don't have a webcam, so
Yeah, you didn't see anything.
yes, I know. What was I going to say? Yeah, but so now I'm playing with the Xbox Elite controller and used to just watching it on a single monitor. It's kind of like it took me a while to get back into the groove of that, but I've kind of got there. But I do miss that. Those of you who had VR, that moment when you're in the SRV and you look around, and there's one point if you've got the base stations, you can actually pop your head through the bubble canopy of the SRV and look at the thrusters behind you over your left or right shoulder. It's just bloody awesome. But yeah, I'm now finding there's other. The moment Odyssey dropped and you don't get to do that in Odyssey, it's like my friend was telling me who does it still in VR. It's like it just pops up as a flat screen, like a computer screen inside the VR thing. And I kind of thought, well, that's really immersion breaking. So I'm not really that.
It
Now the whole
still
thing's just on the
still
PC
works on
screen.
chips.
It's like it's more immersive that way because it's an entire package rather than VR here but flat screen there and then back to VR.
Yep.
So
There should
I'm
be a
not
way to fix that. I'm sure there's some modding opportunities there, and I'm sure people picked up on it.
Michael,
Well, the
you
other
had an interesting VR experience at the last Elite community meet. Do you want to mention that one? That's gonna blow your
right. I
mind.
played the original Elite in VR.
The original.
Like the original. The vector-based one, yes.
Good lord.
I forgot the name of
really.
the guy, but he made the effort to actually make it work in with a HOTAS and in VR. And when you put on the headset, it actually puts you in front of the computer, and you have to put in the disc into the drive and launch the thing, and then it goes into actual VR.
Wow.
It's quite interesting.
That's
It's a very different experience from the original.
So there isn't a mod that could mod that mod so that when I'm playing Elite Dangerous in VR, I could play the
Yeah,
old
maybe.
Elite Dangerous in the cockpit of the spaceship as a kind of distraction while I'm buckyballing somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like there used to be a mod
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you could watch
You look
YouTube.
down in the disembark screen and it just plays something on that screen.
Yes,
I
I'm in the
love
real
this
galaxy
idea.
playing Elite Dangerous in vector form or whatever. Like somebody I think modded YouTube, you could watch it inside the VR cockpit of your ship. I never got that working, but it was one of the
That
ways
would
to
be
kill time.
amazing.
Yes,
I
but
need
that
to
would
get
be
a headset,
awesome.
it looks like.
Once you go VR, you never. I was going to say come back, but
Yeah, I
didn't,
mean,
so
VR is
that's not
one
true.
of the things. VR is one of the things
Yeah.
that I really, really appreciate Elite for. Is I mean, I don't play it in VR currently because I don't have a headset. But if headsets got more comfortable and all that kind of stuff, that would be the main reason for me for getting one, because Elite in VR is. I mean, despite the drawback of having those 2D moments, it's still gonna be an incredible upgrade to the game, because if you have like fucking the experience of dropping in on a star, that doesn't get old.
Oh no.
That's
But it's
actually one
simple,
thing
though.
That's one thing I haven't tested, unfortunately. When I got the chance to try a bit of VR, but I was flying around an installation in space, and I was given the controls, but I wasn't explained all the controls, and I accidentally hit the flight assist off button, and I had to ask the guys who set that out. Wait, how do I turn flight assist back on? I'm losing control and crashing into a wall. And everything is just so much bigger when you sit in there.
Does Elite Dangerous still do? This was something that glitched in the early days, where you would drop out of witch space, and you were so close to the sun, you actually flew through it to the other side. I don't know if any of you remember that. It was very rare. It happened to me once in a VR headset, and I can't describe the terror.
You can't do that
Because
if you have a binary star system and the stars are close to each other. We had one of the POIs on around waypoint 2. I think it was like 1,000 light years south of it. There was a warning in the description of that system that if you are unlucky, you can be squeezed between the stars, and you can line up a jump. You have to figure out what direction you need to come in from, and then you will actually go through one of the two stars.
Oh, nice.
And if you're lucky, you're gonna end up inside the exclusion zone of that star you went through, like I did before Distant Worlds 3.
You mean if you're unlucky? If you're unlucky.
It's lucky. I'm gonna share the screenshot on in this channel. I have to find it really quick, but yeah, that's one of the. I was so close to the star that I actually had to. I was lucky to have like 6 heat sinks installed that I actually was able to get out of there alive.
Oh, wow. Jeez. I think the other thing with VR that really impressed, I think what impressed me the most wasn't the jumping and the traveling. Was like first time I put the headset on, I was in the Lakon Type 6, which I'm sure all of you at some point have had a Lakon Type 6 in the early days as you trade up to the better exploration ships. And it's a tiny little ship, and it's got a fairly good cockpit bubble to look through until you get to the Diamondbacks and the Asps or what have you. But what I didn't appreciate when you put the VR headset in, because with the base stations you can stand up and walk around, it's giant. You stand up from the seat and you look around. It's like, oh my god, it's so huge on the inside. And it was like that was the most impressive. That was the moment I thought, yeah, VR is the way to go with this. You don't really appreciate the interior scale of the ship until you've got a VR headset on it and you can stand up and look around it. And that's when I bumped into the window, unfortunately, because I hadn't quite set up the base stations correctly. Did I mention
Yeah,
I
I
was
had
using it?
I had a friend come over and tell me, "Oh yeah, I used to play this in VR," and then I was telling him about like the expedition right now and everything, and he was like, "You know, I never really played the game. I just flew the ships around and looked at the insides and the stars. It's cool." And I was
Well,
like, "You're right. Yeah,
yes,
I
yeah,
need to do that."
totally. Yes.
Because everything
Yeah.
is so much bigger, he said, and I haven't had the chance to play this on a headset. I would love to. Like my little webcam thing works, you know. I can look left and right and look at my panels and everything. Yeah, it's cool. Sometimes it definitely makes me nauseous though, especially if I've had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
So I think a
Well,
headset would be a little better on that front for sure.
there is an intermediate stage. This friend who kind of alerted me to Distant World Expedition 3, which drew me back into the game, and he was saying like, you need to be aware, lots changed, what have you. He used to do VR like I did, and we used to meet up occasionally back when we played together. But he dropped it, and he's gone for. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Is it OBI tracker? And it's like you put a camera up on your main monitor, and it tracks your eyeballs, so
Yep. I
you're
use
looking.
this thing, what's it called? It's Beam eye tracker, which is a very similar thing. So I can either have it track my eyes or my head, and I just do my head because if you do it with the eyes, it trips you out. It starts looking left and
Really.
right all the time.
I,
It's weird.
and this is something you're using in Elite Dangerous, or because he was saying it's really good for cover-based shooters like Division and Division 2. You just look at the
Oh,
cover and
I haven't done that.
you
I
you
play mostly
snap
sim
to
games
it.
on it, but
Right.
that sounds like fun. And I know that you could do
Uh, wh-
Arma with it. That's another game that I want to play for sure.
I-
Oh,
If you
nice.
want a shooter experience for VR, from what I've seen, Half-Life Alex is actually great in that regard. I don't have VR, and so I've watched a let's play of someone playing through it, but the, from what I've seen, that game is also amazing for VR.
Portal in VR is awesome too. For those that haven't done that.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
Alex and Portal
quite
are
into
insane in
it.
VR titles.
Yeah. I did get the feeling that
Portal's
the
gonna
VR
mess with your
gaming.
head for sure.
What was that? Sorry.
I mean, Portal's gonna mess with your head for sure in
Oh yeah.
VR.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, I've seen that video that Amarithus just flagged up in the message pane. I've seen that. That's cool. That's awesome. Uh, that's really good. But I do think. I mean, I think my sense is VR as a gaming industry is not got to the place where it was promised to be, and of the places it does exist in, Elite Dangerous is one of the best of the games to use for VR, along with various flight sim games, which I don't play. Microsoft Simulator, for example, and other ones. Um, but if the new Odyssey update, which is called, is it Operations, if I'm remembering correctly, which
Yeah.
is involving a lot of ground base, that's not going to be. I mean, this was something I remember at the time, and I drifted off Elite Dangerous. There was clearly no long-term VR support going into. There's a whole VR sub community, or there was back in the day, probably still is, and it was just moan after moan of them not up whenever they updated Elite Dangerous, they didn't update the VR element or component or however you describe that side of things. So there was a lot of dispirited posts about how VR wasn't being catered to by Elite Dangerous. And I'm imagining that the new update won't be VR friendly in the slightest. I'm guessing if it's an Odyssey kind of content.
Well, they did say
Yeah.
that the only part of the missions are gonna be on foot, but it's also gonna involve space-based things. So I expect this partial thing. So just be on foot stuff is not gonna work well on VR, but the other parts, they probably will, it's just gonna be the same as it is now, I guess, inside your ship.
So do you think then that if you come together as friends that you can specialize in elements of the mission where you stay in a ship VR component while other of your friends go down to the
I
ground-based
think
operations? Is that how it works?
I think it's gonna be something like, so they mentioned mega ships, and these mega ships are gonna have turrets, and I think you just have to disable them first before you can land, stuff like that. But then again, they also mentioned mining and exploration, and I have no idea how that's gonna be with the new content. So yeah,
Is there a release date for operations, or is it?
I
Are
don't
we
think
waiting
so.
for the Monday developers log?
They did say early this year, so that should be right about now. But they haven't heard anything further, so maybe it's getting delayed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The beta testers are under NDA, but it's definitely being beta tested right now.
That's encouraging, isn't it? Optimistic.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty good.
For my part, they can wait until I'm back from Distant Worlds 3. So.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And I guess that goes for a lot of other people as well. We're kind of busy right now. Take your time.
I've got money to make.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to wait, like them to wait for when we're back too. So next year sometime.
Nah, no, I'm not gonna take that long.
Well, spoilers.
No, I actually stayed behind after this Worlds 2 at Beagle Point for like 2 years, and then I went back.
Many people did. I always kept over the years. I kept hearing from someone who had just returned from Distant Worlds 2.
Well, the strange thing is when Chiggy rescued me from, I can't remember the name of the system as it was back then before it was renamed as VonRichtofen's rescue. I went back to Beagle Point to land symbolically to restart the journey back after that monumental mess that I created, because I wanted to restart the journey back to the bubble, which I've only just finally completed 3 or 4 weeks ago to do Distant Worlds. So there's something symbolic or something. I mean, obviously now Beagle Point isn't the most distant point in the galaxy. It's Salome's Reach. But back then it was like landing there, you had the entirety of the galaxy ahead of you. There's something wonderfully symbolic about touching down on that planet, that system, and restarting the journey. It's like wiping the slate clean, starting again, as it were.
You failed. You tried again.
Yes, yeah. Try, fail, try again, fail better.
Aren't there also people that stopped playing End of DW2 and are now returning directly to DW3? I don't know. I haven't heard of someone in particular who's doing that. I've heard about people who were still out in the black somewhere and raced back, like you did, as you told us.
Yes, you're right. I've just told a Porky Pie. You're right. I was on Distant Worlds 2. You're right. I've totally not told this correctly. That's right. I remember now. I was on Distant Worlds 2, got to Sagi A, and because there were so many people involved, that's right. I remember now. I kind of it was like, okay, there's so many people, I don't feel connected to it in the way I did in the first one. So I drifted off and started exploring northwards, and then the idea was to push eastwards, which I did, and then I gradually drifted off the game, and then reactivated a few weeks back to find myself still there. Went back to Anchorage, Explorer's Anchorage, dumped the exploration data, and then buckyball back to the bubble. So that's me you're talking about right now, bizarrely. Although, technically I never finished Distant Worlds 2, so I don't have the badge for it or any of the kind of kudos from having completed
Yeah,
it.
and when
And
I look,
I imagine, I was just going to say, like, when I rebooted Elite Dangerous these few weeks ago, I went through. I don't know if you guys ever had a similar experience. If you've gone away from this game and come back after a significant period of time, it was very. I don't know if the word's depressing. It was
Different?
very different. I went through all my friends lists, and I had over 2/3 of them I had to delete because they hadn't been playing for over 2 or 3
no,
years.
I didn't delete
It was shocking.
anyone. I didn't delete. So when I look at EDSM,
Oh.
my map still has markers all over the galaxy
Oh
of people
man,
who've never logged
they're
back
all
in.
they're all some Lacon's Type 6 on a cold moon with the power generator down and dust frost collecting over the load
No.
screens.
But
They're
I've
grave
had
markers, man. You need to delete them for your own sanity.
no, I've had a different moment though. Because as I mentioned earlier, there was a Fargoid war going on, and I jumped back into the game, and there were quite some new things, so some new tech, and some new weapons that you can unlock to fight them with, and other things. And so I started working to getting them, and from the information that I got, in order to, so not only did I need materials to unlock something that I wanted, but also the tech broker or the station where I could get it was permit locked, and so I had to farm reputation with a faction to get that permit, and it's that was very discouraging at that moment for me, because there was a community goal which gave us these things. I missed that community goal, so I had to do this alternative route, and yeah, that kind of made me stop again. So I didn't actually take part in taking down the Titans, for example. And now I'm regretting that, because that was a unique thing that happened in the game. These Fargoid Titans. We don't know if they will come back at some point. From what I heard from people, it was a lot of fun and very exciting.
I think there was some talk about Thargoid invasions along the Colonia in what's it called, the colonization chain.
Yeah, but nothing happened.
I'm not sure what there's to it, but people have been talking about it in Distant Worlds chat, I think.
Yeah, people have always been wondering if we will encounter Fargoids anywhere or something. But yeah, no.
when I was buckyballing back from the bubble, like a week and a bit ago, a week Thursday, or what have you, to catch up with the fleet, I was a little bit out. Well, I forget where I was, and I'll say a third of the way to Sagier or something like that. And I jumped into a system, and there was some biologics. I'll break the journey and the monotony, what have you, and rake in some credits. And I went down to a planet, and it had something called a non-human signal point of interest on it, which I'd never come across before. And I instantly took a screenshot and messaged my pal Warren, who was the one who sort of drew me back into Elite Dangerous. It's like, I'm really scared. What the hell is a non-human signal? And I think if I'm reading what he said back to me, is like, if it's an ammonia world or there's an ammonia gas giant in the system, there's a Thargoid crash site or something like that. But when I landed and got out the SRV, the POE had disappeared, and he said sometimes they glitch out and what have you. So that was like new to me that you could get outside the bubble and there's still like non-human event or points of interest happening if the system has the right combination of elements attached to it. I don't know if you guys have come across something like that. To me, it was like, oh my god,
Oh
that's
yeah, I
really
did.
scary. I've never come across a non-human signal before, but it glitched and I never got to experience what the thing. But it turns out it's just some crashed elements or
Yeah,
materials or something on the ship.
it's a probe. You can find them pretty much everywhere.
Oh well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I'll send you a screenshot. I found one and did the same thing. I thought it was something crazy, and they're like, "No, it's on every planet." But I'll send you a picture. Just it was like a little probe, a little probe on the ground.
Yeah,
I did the same thing.
Yeah, that'll quell my curiosity and terror at the same time.
You know what's quelling my terror right now is the Sidewinder that showed up here. It's a Sidewinder named Anaconda, and the pilot has combat rank Elite 5.
Whoa. That's another new thing since I came back. The elites rankings got like
Oh, yeah.
grades now. That was never new. I was like, oh my god, that's more grades.
Of course.
Which I'm happy to throw myself into, obviously.
I've got what is it? Trade Elite 1 is on my main account, but other than that, I haven't gotten any of the higher ranks yet. Okay, now it's doing a mating dance with a Mandalay.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
Ask you guys a question. The Mandalay, which is a new ship to me in terms of I don't own one. I've not experienced it before. My experiences have been around the Type 6, the Asp. I did get the Caspian because I was really curious about. I like the design. That's the kind of subliminal Trekkie in me, I suppose. I'm not taken with it. I don't think the cockpit's that great in terms of viewing when landing. It's too big.
Did someone just open a bottle?
If they are, can they share?
It sounded like that.
Maybe.
I fly a Mandalay right now, and I love it. So
I don't know anything about the Mandalay. Well, the question is, I bought the Asp Explorer from the store to get back from the bubble, and I got up to a 70 light year, and I love the Asp.
Yep.
I'm old school in that sense. I love the sound of it, that throaty growl when it comes in, and the view from the cockpit. But every time I look at the Mandalay, looking at the design of the ship, it's like it just has a cockpit on the top. But everyone's saying it's the premier exploration ship, and I'm thinking, how do you land? How do you look down when you're landing? How does that work? Why is it?
It's a little difficult. You know, you have to pitch a little bit and kind of judge it. But I don't know. I haven't had a lot of time in the Asp. I bought the Mandalay right when I started. I read like the new player thing on the website, and I got the Guardian FSD and all that. And it said that the Mandalay was the best. And then I ended up buying an Asp when I was out here from one of the ships because I wanted to do some of the mining stuff. And I don't really like the Asp. I think the cockpit in the Mandalay is way more. You can see more out of the sides and everything, which I like. And you can see down a little bit, but I do a lot of hitting the ground slightly and then bouncing off and trying again. You know, I brought some shields. Might as well use them.
Yes, that's what they're there for, right?
Exactly. But I've blown up a few times. We have our fun.
Yeah, haven't we all? Yeah, those high
gravity planets. I do have an Asp, and I haven't used it a lot because I did a little exploration trip to the Orion Nebula with it, but soon after I bought an Anaconda, and I've done my first real long range exploration trip I've done in an Anaconda, and that has even less field of view than both of those ships.
I know. Back in the days when I was, when we were all like the early days of Elite Dangerous, the Anaconda was the ship you all aspired to, but the one that wasn't the very best.
I was so happy.
Not only was the view bad, but the turn, the slowdown and the turn of the ship was just horrendous.
I was so happy when I got it, and yes, the turn rate was. It took a while to get used to. I was quite shocked when I first flew it, But I did
I can
get used to
imagine.
it, and then yeah, now I'm sitting here
Yep.
in a Caspian, which looks like a ship
Yeah.
from Star Trek.
I need to get one of
So
those,
Yeah,
but I
Caspian all the
don't have
way.
the funds.
Yeah. So in the
I'm actually
round,
considering.
does the Caspian and the Mandalay is the Asp Explorer or Exploder as we used to call it in the day? Is it no longer viable as a premier exploration
Yeah.
ship? Is
Oh,
that
it
is that what
still
you're all
very well
saying
is.
now?
Well, we got the Great Phantom at some point, which
Yeah,
was
that's my
also
favorite.
which was
And I'm thinking of switching back to it.
yeah, the Great Phantom was a straight up upgrade from the Asp. And you also had a really good view downwards from that cockpit, from the Phantom.
Yeah, yeah. It was not just downward, all around, pretty much. Yeah, and I was considering of making the Caspian my primary ship for the expedition a while after buying it, but yeah, I've kind of had my fill already, and I'm gonna switch back to my Phantom after Sunday.
The main reason I got the Caspian was actually because I was scouting for this expedition and I needed to get back quicker. And the Caspian has this neutron supercharge bonus
Yeah.
I need
range.
Yeah.
There. So I landed on
Yeah.
a DSSA carrier somewhere. I can actually show it on the map. I landed on a DSSA carrier and left my Phantom there. And I flew back with the Caspian I bought from the store. I think it's here. No, it's not here. Oh, here. You see the ship symbol on the map? That's where I left my Phantom.
I can't see anything.
On stream.
Stream has a delay.
It's somewhere here. This is not where the route is going, by the way. This was just me getting back south, and I picked this DSSA carrier because I looked up that it had a shipyard, and so I went here, and then bought my Caspian from the store there, and of course this carrier wasn't selling any parts, so I've put whatever I could from the Phantom onto the Caspian to get it a bit better range. But one of the main problems was the power plant was quite small for this ship, so I didn't have I didn't have enough power to run shields. So when I came back to Bubble and I dropped out at the starport, I had to deactivate my FSD so I could turn on the shield so I could safely dock.
Yeah.
You could, okay, you probably didn't have the docking computer with you for those emergency cases.
It does come with a docking computer, but I just I wanted to be.
You were too proud to use it. Okay, okay.
Oh no. That's another thing that I got back into Elite Dangerous, and this mate of mine, who was the one who drew me back in, was saying, okay, there's some changes you need to be aware of. Like, people don't manually fly into the space stations, the Coriolis and the Oculus anymore. I was like, what do you mean they don't manually? He said, no, it's like there's an auto docking and an auto launch feature, and they don't really manually fly to the planets. You can click on this super cruise thing where it will fly you to and drop you out automatically. And it was like, my God, that's like, so when I drive a diesel car with brake and all this sort of stuff, and I've just upgraded to a new car that has an electric braking system, which is I've never known. I keep reaching for a handbrake that's not there anymore, and it's sort of this weird thing that in the game there seems to be this shift to automation flight that takes away. Do you remember that moment where you tried to get through the letterbox into the space and somebody else was shooting at somebody else and there was debris in the field and suddenly you were getting fined for obstructing the letterbox? Do you remember that? And it's like,
oh, were you not at Colonia at the beginning of Distant Worlds 3?
yes,
It was fun at
Jack
Jacques
Station
Station.
with this. Oh my God,
It
I
was
know.
nuts.
No, I play with ET Copilot, and this is another thing that like, oh my God, this game is a completely different game. So ET Copilot, if you don't use it, obviously she talks
Probably
to
by
you
now
and
we
all.
all use it.
Yeah, well, brilliant. For me, it's a brand new feature, and like I say, it's a game changer. But I get to Jacques Station,
I found it last year too.
Sorry, I was just going to say I got to, and it was a cluster mess of chips and all sorts of stuff. An ED co-pilot pipes up, and she says, "Stop attacking us, Commander. Make like a shepherd and flock off." I was like, "Where the hell did that come from?" It's like there's an ED co-pilot challenging AI commanders who are attacked. 2 of them attacked me, and she was like cheeking them back, and it was like, "This game's awesome."
I had a different problem with Jack's station. When I dropped out there out of Super Cruise, I exploded instantly before I couldn't even do anything. Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm not sure what happened. I think because it also took a couple seconds to actually load. I was in the Bremen tunnel for a while before I dropped in, and I exploded. And I respawned at a prison ship with because I had a fine apparently, or I got a fine in that very moment. So, what I think,
Sorry, what?
Yeah,
What's a prison?
Yeah, there are prison ships where if you commit a crime and you get shot down, that's where you respawn. They are mega ships, and yeah.
Oh gosh, right.
I haven't experienced that part of the game at all yet.
Me neither, but
how do you,
so
I'm a pirate, but
so what I
kind of pirate that gets caught.
What I
is it
think.
like a spawn point, or do you have to fight your way out, or buy?
No. You're fine. You pay your rebuy, your bounty fee or whatever is added on top of that.
Oh right.
And then you get out. But what I think
so
happened
you don't have to
is
toil away in the mines like in Star Citizen.
No. What I think happened is when I dropped out of Super Cruise, I must have rammed another ship. So I've taken damage from that, and that exploded me. And also ramming another ship counts as an aggressive action, and that's why I got a bounty for it, and that's why I respawned at a prison.
Wow.
I think that's what happened.
I didn't know the word prison. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I lost some exploration data from that, unfortunately, but so it was at the start of the expedition, so it wasn't too much. It also happens when you so when you walk around on foot on one of the settlements, there are guards walking around on the outside, and if they notice you, they want to scan you, and they will ask you to freeze, so to stand still. And if you don't react to that command, you have 1 or 2 seconds to let go of any movement keys and stand still. If you don't, you will get a fine, and they will start shooting you. And 9 out of 10 times you will not survive because you're not prepared for it. And
wasn't it supposed to be like that with scans in space as well? Like when authorities scan your ships, I think that has gone away quite at all, like completely, because you just get scanned so quickly that it doesn't really make any difference if you move or not.
Yeah, and you can also run away from scans in space without any problems. But on foot, they will shoot you, and you will respawn at a prison as well if that happens.
Wow. And these prisons, from what you were saying earlier, I'm going to imagine that they're not interactive in the sense that people can break you out.
No.
Your friends can come in and
no.
There's a gameplay loop involved in kind of you escaping and
it's basically I think the law is
cool.
The moment you hit rebuy, you're already done serving your sentence and you get released.
Yes.
So that sort of deal. But it's annoying because
that's kind of a design decision.
Yeah, it's annoying because they are usually in a different system. So you have to reorient yourself. Where have I been? How do I get back there? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if you would end up there without your ship.
There is actually one of these prison ships that is also around Sagittarius A star. So we have Explorer's Anchorage, and then there's another ship, a mega ship you can dock at. It's called the Grim Pioneer.
And that's a prison ship?
Oh, I think I've
Yes.
been there,
Yes.
but by choice.
It
Like
depends on
docking
the
there to
security of the
remote docking.
system. So
Yes.
if you get killed in a high-sec system or a system with security, you'll end up on a prison ship. But if you're in an anarchy system and you get killed, you just respawn normally. It's based on the security of the system.
Yeah, that is
cool.
so.
Right.
Would you look at the time?
Oh yeah.
This went by really quickly.
It
We've
has, yes.
already hitting 9 p.m. UTC. So unfortunately, I think we should kind of start wrapping things up here.
Oh no. I should point out. I don't know if it's something to boast about, but this is my first ever podcast, so it's been fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
you.
What an honor for us.
Oh well, I am a legend apparently.
Yep.
A legend.
Allegedly.
You have a system
A
named
living
after you.
legend now.
Well, more of a stumbling idiot. I suppose that's how legends get created sometimes, isn't it? You make mistakes and things happen that create, as is what happened at sort of player-generated content that, thanks to Chiggy responding, and again, I suppose that, as we're ending, this is a good point to raise as a final coda. Is all of this would never have happened without Chiggy responding in those very early messages, because I was on the point of winding down and self-destructing, but putting out that message saying, like, this is what's happened to me, don't do this. But he responded, and then there was that famous PM sent, and the rest is, as sometimes they say it rather glibly, but here quite accurately, is the rest is history.
Yeah, as you said in the beginning too. But yeah, emergent gameplay is really a big part of Elite Dangerous. What really makes it so appealing to many.
Yes, I think in many ways the fact that the game structure and the way it is does allow for a lot of content like the SOB races, or the idea of the Chiggy buckyball that came up with because I stupidly hit the escape pod button, ended up and had to race back, and then finally for the first time understood what Chiggy went, not what he went through, that's too grandiose, but the way to play the game at that level, probably a better way to play it, actually opens up another gameplay loop, like a galaxy-wide buckyball race. And so these things happen because we get inspired, or accidents mean that people come together and create a new doorway into something new. Whereas another game which might have tighter controls over it wouldn't allow that creativity or maybe inspiration, if that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Inspiration is definitely a big part of it. I'm sure. I mean, as a creative myself, I'm kind of usually highly inspired by what happens in these kinds of events. Distant Worlds 2 has brought me a long way. It made me produce a song for it, like a song for the launch, and kind of that kind of stuff. And I mean, you've heard "Let's Jump Together" probably, hopefully. That kind of stuff is just the surface, the tip of the iceberg in terms of what people take away from this game.
Well, in that case, I'd like to raise a toast to any of us in whatever time zone we're in, because it's always Prosecco o'clock, as you say in England or wherever you are in the world.
It's coffee
yeah.
o'clock.
I'm lifting up my Pinot Noir right now to whatever happens in the future with Distant Worlds 3 and the amazing emerging events that will come out of it, for sure, because I really believe it's going to be a fantastic adventure. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Chiggy too.
Yeah, cheers.
And to
Oh, yes.
yes. I think his memory underpins all of what we do going forward in a way.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, sorry. While we're at that, while mentioning Chiggy, should we go through the announcements for the weekend once more, really quick?
There's a lot planned. We have events on Saturday tomorrow, which is Valentine's Day, and there is a 10-year wedding anniversary by Commander Jonathan Fall, who got married during Distant Worlds 1 10 years ago, while it was at Beagle Point. So he wanted to throw an anniversary party at Beagle Point. And after that,
Yeah.
we have the group trip to Salome's Reach, which is the outermost body of the furthest system from Sol. Currently, orbital position does not have the moon be the furthest body from Sol, because it's we need to wait a couple more years for it to get back into position to be that. But it is still a historic place to get to, so we want to get there. And anyone joining that, make sure you have enough synthesis materials, enough germanium, and other things to make the trip there and back, because we will not have a carrier jumping there.
Yeah, make sure you have an excess of FSD injections available.
And if you don't, you can always hitchhike. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I was going to say I have one seat left on my Caspian. I've got a couple people DMing me for rides, so I've got one seat left on the Caspian. And arsenic is in the is hard to find out in that region. You can find everything else but arsenic, so make sure you have a lot of arsenic.
Yeah, I would second that. I was out there today, and I was down on arsenic. I had enough arsenic for one jump to land on a planet, and it took me a long while to find, because I think it was 0.5% or whatever for the arsenic drop. It took me ages, but luckily there was 5 biologics, so I could distract myself by earning some credits by doing it. But yeah, stock up on arsenic before you go, because that's quite a rare item out there.
And then we also have the Rendezvous Rally number 3, I think, which is organized by by Commander Grease, which is an SRV race. There will be a live race happening tomorrow, I think at 10 o'clock UK time or in-game time.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in here really quickly and ask a really dumb? This is back to me, the idiotic explorer. But since coming back, as I keep repeating, and to the point where I sound like a broken record, I can't remember how you get to the planetary coordinates when you're flying, because in the old days it was a pain in the ass to try and find,
you have ED Copilot. ED Copilot does have a guidance computer module, and this race is
brilliant.
This race is also available as a time trial, so you can, if you can't make it to the live race, you can do it on your own time whenever you have time by using ED Copilot. It will give you instructions on how to get there and what to do.
Brilliant.
And there is also a leaderboard built in, so you can see what your time is against other commanders. And that's all happening tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we have the memorial event here in VonRichtofen's rescue. Starting at 1800 in-game time. People will be winged in. There will be a little speech and a formation flyby, from what I know, and then a jump to Macedonica's Leap, which is the other system. And then after that, and you still have enough time to get back to Beagle Point for the big mass jump, we will run 2 instances. We have, I think, 5 or 6 volunteers per instance who can wing you in. We have a long list of people signed up on a Google sheet. We will go through that sheet and try to get as many people in as we can. If we can't wing you in, if you are in the wrong private group, or if you haven't sent a friend request yet, we will move on to the next person on the list. And if we reach the end of that list, we will loop back to everyone we couldn't get in on the first attempt.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So if you miss out, there shouldn't. You should just need a bit of patience, and you should be getting a second chance and stuff like that. But
it's all a big,
try to be there ahead of time.
It's all a big experiment. We don't know how it's gonna go. Things will probably go wrong for at least a couple people.
Me.
Expected, and yeah, that's all I can say about it for now.
All right.
I look forward
Was
to it.
that everything?
I think that was everything, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, pay attention to the announcements channels as usual. And yeah, we will be back next week, same time. Topic will be announced hopefully in advance. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, for being here with me and hosting Felix. And thank you, Felix, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This was the official Distant World 3 podcast. First time we actually went over the initial 2-hour time frame and kind of missed out when we got close to it. So that is a good thing. But yeah, I guess have a good night, have a good day, everyone. Thanks for being here and goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me join.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for
Thanks
hosting.
again. Bye, everyone. It's been fun. Thank you.